In Jennifer Sachs's article, she proposes a hypothesis in which that sentences are encoded with respect to their meaning and that there is no, quote, mental tag indicating the form is stored in the task comprehension instead of learning. This means that she thinks language is comprehended and that it seems to be like what is heard or remembered is to some extent is the meaning, but unless special attention is given to other aspects such as form or style, the exact wording is forgotten. She also draws upon that this phenomenon was previously mentioned in linguistic theory by Noam Chomsky. The theory of comprehension is a deep structure, and then it can be derived from a surface structure of a sentence by syntactic processing. Then the semantic interpretation is made from a deeper structure. This suggests that the meaning of a message is retained without the exact form because the surface structure has been lost during the process of interpretation. From this, the purpose of the experiment is to find out just how well people can remember what they have just heard. So how recently they can recount what the meaning of their sentence was. She conducted this experiment using 96 participants, and they listened to 24 tape passages. And each passage they heard had one recognition test sentence, which was either to identify a sentence of the passage to see if it had changed or not. So they would say whether they identified it as identical or if it changed. And then if it did change, did it change in meaning or form? Most of the participants recognized the semantic changes at high levels in all three amounts of interpolated material. So the semantics was the most recognized. The other four passages were very hard to understand. The identical, passive, active, and form were all close to semantics when interpolated material, but significantly drops when interpolated material becomes closer to 80. From this, we concluded that the participants had some ability to recognize the form of sentences after 80 and 160 syllables of interpolated material, but that it was pretty low when it contrasted to the high interpolation of the semantic content of a sentence. The test sentences that were heard right after the original sentence had a high retention rate for everyone in total that was being tested. After 60 to 100 syllables, recognition for syntactic changes had dropped significantly, while they were still remaining pretty high for semantic changes. Formal properties were not really necessary for the meaning, and they were quickly forgotten, so meaning stuck out way more than the formal properties of the sentence. From these findings, it is indicated that recognition memory of all form of a sentence declines more quickly than recognition memory for the meaning. Changes in meaning were not remembered well at all. So when a sentence changed in meaning, people just could not remember. I found that her experimental evidence was pretty convincing. She had a pretty large sample size of the people tested, and 24 passages that varied in type and had a solid duration of time, about a half an hour. I felt that this test was thorough and that she truly knew how to conduct it. Her data seemed to be well recorded, and participants were encouraged to ask questions just in case they didn't even understand. Additional evidence that could have been looked at and made her case more convincing. Perhaps Sachs could have attached electrodes to her participants and measured where exactly the neurons were firing in the brain during this test, just for a little more brain chemistry in that aspect. She could have also done a longitudinal study where her participants were tested to see in the future if their results were the same for their data. She often makes references to Chomsky and his linguistic theory and deep structure concepts, but perhaps she could include other perspectives, such as Skinner or Pinker, see it from a behavioral aspect more so. Overall, I thought this was a great article and I enjoyed it a lot.